Let's do Apologia Comedia. Big up Apologia Comedia. Apologia Comedia. Apologia Comedia. Kurt Metzger exposes how compromised Joe Rogan really is. Big up everybody watching. Big up everybody watching. Big up everybody watching.
Let's be clear. The idea that Democrats want to get to the bottom of this is, remember, if you brought up Epstein at all, you were a conspiracy theorist for the entire time before Trump got in again. Remember that?
Yeah.
Why would you? In fact, they said, why would you bring it up? The reason any Democrat would possibly bring it up now, because they know Trump cannot reveal it.
Once we know that the Trump administration isn't getting to the bottom of it, no one is.
Oh, you don't trust Cash no more? He looks so reliable on here. Wow. You know, his supposed honeypot girlfriend, they're suing. But she's suing everybody. They said she's a IDF honeypot or whatever the fuck.
Who's suing? Was she suing
his girlfriend?
People?
Yeah.
Who's she suing?
That should, by the way, that should clear up those Jew rumors. Am I right?
Kurt Metzger's latest appearance on JRE was pretty refreshing, especially if you like to put on the tinfoil hat now and again. Kurt is basically a more polished Eddie Bravo. Eddie clearly knows what he's talking about, he just can't always articulate it.
More polished Eddie Bravo, really? I think they're on about the same level when it comes to articulation. A more polished version of Eddie Bravo. I think they're about the same level when it comes to... I don't know.
So he ends up yelling, "Look into it." Kurt, on the other hand, if you ask him to expound, you better buckle up because at some point you're going to find yourself seriously considering lizard people. He's going to hit you with information. And kind of like Theo Vaughn and Shane Gillis's recent appearance, there are moments throughout the podcast where it feels like there's this unspoken running joke in the Rogan sphere where controversial topics come up and Joe either doesn't want to go there or he plays dumb like he has no idea what's going on. One of the best moments is when Kurt calls out Joe talking about AI potentially becoming Jesus. Kurt points out that's basically the definition of the Antichrist and Luciferian. Because of course Joe would think that. Look at how many AI tech dork friends he has. Kurt also goes pretty hard on the Trump administration, calling out guys like Hegseth and Cash's quote-unquote girlfriend. But right from the beginning, he goes all in and brings up the dumpster fire Joe refuses to discuss, Turning Point USA.
How you like that Nicki Minaj, huh? Really?
What about her?
Did you watch? We've been covering TPUSA all week.
Okay, you're deep in the woods. I'm not. I stay out of that. If it seems
Why?
like
It's so great.
Because it seems like the right wing of this country is in some sort of a weird gang war.
There never was a fucking united right wing. It was a bunch of people needing some shit done that didn't get done, and now they're upset about it. And so because here's the thing.
It's a bunch of people scrambling to be in control of the narrative too.
The poly market dudes have some network. There's also like
yo, big up.
I figured out why Rogan gets so weird when Israel is brought up. UFC partnered with Paramount Plus, which was recently purchased by a Zionist.
That makes sense. Makes sense, but it gets a bit squirrely. He's also probably in business with them behind the scenes, isn't it? You can imagine. He's probably in business with them, properties, maybe the comedy mothership, silent partners. Israeli people, Jewish people in general, they're really good business people. So he's probably in bed with some of these people, business-wise. So it makes sense. Yeah, it makes sense. It's just funny seeing him squirm, though, isn't it? The guy that would brag about just saying anything and being, no censor, no filter, all this. And it's just funny seeing him squirm and get a little bit uncomfortable with certain topics I brought up. Big up Stephen Castaneda. I appreciate you, brother, for the super chat. Big up Stephen Castaneda in the chat. Big up Stephen Castaneda in the chat.
The show I sold called The Cutout. They do these cutout things where it's like you pay a company to put up. Remember when Elon showed what countries all the tweets are coming from?
Right.
Okay. Why the fuck are Indians and Sri Lankans tweeting about Israel-Palestine shit, right? Well, It's because there's these bounties they put up and you can get invited to like a circle. Remember when you would show me those things people would get of like, hey, say this shit and we'll give you this money? Mm-hmm. Well, now there's a bounty system. It's on Jimmy's channel. It's fucking amazing. So a bunch of people that I would watch them just like flip and say a thing like it's their job to say it. It was their job, but they're trying to hit a certain amount of engagement, and then you get like 50 grand.
And it works both ways, I'm sure. A
Both
lot
ways
of the
with what?
anti-Israel stuff, people being paid a bounty, don't you think?
Yeah, but China's making...
Stephen Castaneda, look at this guy, man. Look at this guy. Stephen Castaneda, look at this guy. Look at this guy. People being paid to post anti-Israel propaganda, anti-Israel sentiment because they're being paid a bounty. Like, what? So everyone that protests against Trump is a paid actor. Everyone that doesn't like Zionist or whatever control and shit, they are being paid by Polymarket. Excuse me? That makes sense.
Drones, right? If you want to know about the bounties being offered, just go watch the video with Kurt on Jimmy Dore. They offer influencers to post things with certain phrases in them, and it seems like Brazil is the one putting out these bounties. I get why Joe wants to stay out of the TPUSA drama. He is fully aware of what's going on though. He says all the time how he watches Jimmy Dore's channel where Kurt is the co-host, and they've basically covered the downfall of TPUSA. In just 3 months they destroyed everything Charlie's built over the last decade. Erica is coming out on stage to pyros like it's Kill Tony, interviewing people Charlie would never even consider having on stage.
I mean, Nicki Minaj, Cardi B.
Okay, Nicki Minaj is causing dads to leave the home.
Hold on a second. I don't think that's a good role model for 18-year-old black girls. I don't.
They're young men. You have amazing role models like our
Assassin.
handsome, dashing president.
Assassin.
And you have amazing role models like the
Assassin.
J.D. Vance, our vice president. And when I say that,
I just find it strange that she called Vance an assassin. It was strange enough that he was the one that flew Charlie's body on Air Force 2. Like, are they saying he was the point man? I'm just tired of this season of America. The shows really went downhill since the early 2000s. Now we are just left with a few dystopian commentators that seem to not care what they say, one of them being Lord Charizard himself.
The reason that the frantic buying up of the media by Larry, the shadow president Larry Ellison, is because they lost the next generation of trauma-controlled fucking mind slaves, because on TikTok, these psychopaths bragged about crimes they did to people. And all the young zoomies are on there, including in America, where we were force-fed woke bullshit by the oligarchs who are now suddenly horrified because they didn't think it would blow back, that their kids would absorb that crap. Guess who has not had woke programming for the last 12 years? Israel. So you can tell who's involved with the propaganda now, because they have no concept of the sensitivities of these gender blobs that were made in this country. So now they lost the next generation. So now they're frantically buying TikTok. They're putting Barry Weiss in charge of fucking... That's going to work out great. I'll bet she's already out based on the town hall alone that we covered. One of the worst things I've ever seen.
I didn't see it.
Well, you're lucky, but we cover it all.
I'm trying to stay out of most of this stuff because every time I talk to you, I get dragged in and I get paranoid and anxiety.
Oh, yeah, no, you could be killed. I mean, you saw what happened to Charlie Kirk. I know you easily could be killed, and, I don't know.
Does Jimmy worry about that?
Jimmy got his phone hacked with Pegasus that time.
I don't know anything about that equals I'm not allowed to talk about that. Welcome to mainstream media, Joe. You're one of the corporations now. Joe, I never hear about anything anymore Rogan. Exactly. This felt like an old school JRE episode from the era where Eddie Bravo wasn't banned. The world really is crazy. We live in a time when someone as wild as Kurt is more trustworthy than literally any news company. Anytime he brings up anything about important people like Barry Weiss's town hall with Erica Kirk, which was an absolute disaster, anything Erica does has been an absolute disaster. But anything about that or TPUSA or Charlie Kirk, Joe just doesn't pay attention. And Joe loves YouTube. Even in his early days of his podcast, he talks about how much he loves it. You know his algorithm is dialed into the TPUSA garbage.
Some AI will do that. I don't know if
remember when Sonny
Hostin
quoted Seymour DeButts?
No.
Sonny Hostin quote. I think it's Seymour DeButts or some shit.
Isn't that Seymour Butts?
No, DeButts.
Oh,
and it was when Biden did all those pardons on his way out. She goes, well, Seymour, he pardoned his nephew, or his brother-in-law, Seymour DeButts, and the ChatGPT had just made that up. So people were like,
oh, that's hilarious.
Yeah, but she was a judge. Presided over child trafficking cases. Does that fill you with hope?
Yeah, but
I'll bet that was good to have her in charge of something like that.
She was probably tired from a long day of hard work at The View, and ChatGPT lied to her.
Look,
cut her some slack.
The point is, this is why Jesus won't be an AI, because Jesus isn't a fucking liar that you got to tell to go back and look stuff up.
Eventually, he'll get
Jesus
it right.
Christ.
Also, Jesus wouldn't be made by a tech freak with a weird dick.
I think the AI is going to make Jesus. I don't think it's Jesus now.
I think it's going to make... Okay, if an AI makes Jesus, by the way, and this is just in lore. Mm-hmm. Again, I'm not Christian.
Yeah, in lore.
You know my religion, Christ Penelope, which I disclosed to you.
I thought you were Scientologist.
No, I'm a follower of Christ Penelope, the guy that farts in your nostrils to get the thing out. Remember I told you? Yeah, so that would be automatically, that would be an Antichrist.
This is the guy that farts in your face. He literally sits on your nose.
Kurt's the only podcast guest that leave me with homework that I'm excited to do. First time I made it through a full JRE episode in a long
so everyone
time.
liked it. People liked it.
This feels like how Theo Vaughn's interview should have gone.
Fair play.
Thankfully, Rogan has a friend who will tell him not all of his ideas are good, especially about how his belief that AI can become Jesus is blasphemous and ignorant and just an insult to more than 1 billion people. He literally had one of the best apologists on YouTube on JRE last year, and he told him that Jesus was objectively a real person. Joe even started going to church after. Not sure if he's still going, but it didn't take long for him to choose his, how did Kurt say, weird dicked AI tech friend over Jesus. Joe went on a podcast not too long ago, and I'm sure Kurt saw it and was like, I gotta fix this.
One of the weirder ones that people think this is a stupid take, but I don't care. Jesus was born out of a virgin mother. What's more virgin than a computer? So if you're going to get the most brilliant, loving, powerful person that gives us advice and can show us how to live, to be...
Jesus is a Mac Mini. Jesus is a Mac Mini M4. That's why I still need my Mac Mini M4. Jesus is a Mac Mini M4. I told you. I was early on a Mac Mini M4, by the way. So if you guys have been online on Twitter, you might have seen the meme. The ongoing meme with Cloudbot and Mac Mini M4s and shit. I was early on the Mac Mini M4 hype. Mac Mini M4s. AGI and also Jesus.
In sync with God. Who better than artificial intelligence to do that? Wow. If Jesus does return, even if Jesus was a physical person in the past, you don't think that he could return as artificial intelligence?
Oh my God.
Artificial intelligence could absolutely return as Jesus. Not just return as Jesus, but return as Jesus with all the powers of Jesus. Like all the magic tricks, all the ability to bring people back from the dead, walk on water, levitation, water into wine.
I don't think Joe actually believes that when he says it. It's beyond dumb to think that a creation by a man could ever be considered a god, and to compare it to Jesus is just crazy. But of course, I think he says stuff like that for his weird dick tech friend, the reptile. I would
Rogan meets Jesus and says, your man wants a toaster, man. Yeah, man. Your man wants a toaster, man. I love that. I love that Tim did an impression of Joe. So good.
Also like to point out how this is where Metzger excels in having conversations where Eddie Bravo cannot. He let Joe know his idea was stupid and kept it cordial while not consistently repeating, look into it. But instead, just a few, wait, you didn't know that? Like when he tells Joe about Camp Mystic and how a lot of tinfoil hats said the weather seemed controlled. Joe, in his infinite tech Jesus wisdom, quickly plays the devil's advocate.
Remember the kid with the mullet? They blamed the Mystic Camp drowning here in Texas when the flood happened?
Yes.
It wasn't that kid. He got hung out to dry like it was on him. But no, nothing he did. And Jesse Michaels is right. He was right. He told me, and he was dead right. The whatever caused that was something so much more sinister, and that kid was like he's an easy guy to,
So what do you think that was man-made weather that caused that storm?
I can't remember the guy's name. We had at the time on Jimmy's show, the dude came on and explained exactly what it was and the loophole that lets them, because there's a treaty tonight. So I assume they just violate it, but no, there's actually a loophole to test this shit out here.
What evidence does this guy have that they created that storm? Because I thought they had been tracking that storm. I thought this was like
I'm not saying he said they created it, but
I thought it was. But hold on, I thought it was a convergence of two storms that was very rare, and it caused this flash flood.
I don't remember his details. I just know I feel at this point, especially after that Epstein shit, that they should have to prove they're not guilty.
But hold on, yeah, sure.
Yes,
but also,
exactly.
Storms are real.
Joe, yeah, but China's making drones,
Yeah,
Rogan.
but sure,
Thanks for letting
exactly.
us know storms are real. Can you perplexity that, Jamie? Are storms real? Weather manipulation is a real thing. They were doing it back in Nam.
good.
And geoengineering is something you can literally just look up. Don't get me started on mud floods. I don't know enough about the Camp Mystic flood, but if Kurt says look into it, you will probably learn something devastating. That said, I do remember the video Kurt was talking about. That one aired on the Jimmy Dore show, and what's interesting is when you try searching Camp Mystic and Jimmy Dore, the episode doesn't come up at all, which is a little weird. And as the podcast keeps going, Kurt really starts unloading on the Trump administration, especially over Venezuela. Just saying all the things the millions of us Eddie Bravos aren't smart enough to articulate on our own. What's really crazy is 90% of you Eddie Bravos watching aren't subscribed. Subscribe.
Everybody voted for Trump to not have a war in Venezuela. I know that.
Right.
Nobody voted, so they're like, we got it. No fentanyl. That's a lie. I mean, I don't know what idiot thinks fentanyl is coming from Venezuela.
Exactly.
But only liars and morons think that. And if I'm wrong, can we see the evidence? We saw the video of you murdering those people. I just got to take your word for it? That oily-haired fuck Pete Hegseth with his weirdo Catholic and Templar night tattoos? He's got fucking Dan Brown cuckoo tattoos. They're not Nazi. They're fucking Knights of fucking Saint whatever the fuck
I saw that same
in.
Symbol in a Catholic church.
Yeah, they're
DC.
old Crusader shit. And just so you know, Templars were not good guys. They were real fucked. They were, in fact, it's a real ditty party.
We're going on a long circuitous route. What did you say initially before that?
Venezuela. Why?
Okay,
everybody's
so
going to
here's
war.
the thing. One of the boats, the remains of the boat just showed up. They just found it and it has marijuana in it.
Oh, you know what? I stand corrected then. Sorry, Joe.
But no, I mean, I'm saying to prove to your point.
They almost had marijuana.
No, it had. I think that's true. See if that was something that was in the news today.
Felt like Rogan was blocking Kurt the entire episode from talking. Sometimes I think Kurt is part of the most elaborate Jehovah's Witness recruitment program imaginable. Kurt is the only guest Joe has on that makes his handlers nervous. Once Metzger starts talking about Pete Hegseth and his cringe secret society tattoos, Joe changes the subject real fast.
He loves doing that, by the way. When he gets uncomfortable, he'll start interrupting. You start interrupting, break your chain, because he's really good at listening. That's one of the best things about the Joe Rogan podcast, is that he lets you go on like long meandering rants and stuff if you want. But usually if he feels like he's not, if he feels like you're starting to go into areas that he's not too comfortable with, or he might be compromised in, he'll start to suddenly jump in, to fuck up your train of thought.
Really doesn't want beef with any of the dorks Trump hired to be the face for whatever or whoever is actually calling the shots behind the scenes. Because guys like Hegseth and Cash are terrible actors. No pun intended. They are bad at pretending they know what they're doing. And if the director of this season of America was even remotely competent, they would have been fired already. Or, they would have just quit in shame. Like Bongino. The funniest part of the whole podcast was when he called out Cash and his quote-unquote girlfriend.
Let's be clear. The idea that Democrats want to get to the bottom of this is, remember, if you brought up Epstein at all, you were a conspiracy theorist for the entire time before Trump got in again. Remember that?
Yeah.
Why would you? In fact, they said, why would you bring it up? The reason any Democrat would possibly bring it up now, because they know Trump cannot reveal it. So they're just going to use it to make hay for whatever. I'm sure when AOC gets in, she'll get to the bottom of it. I'm sure what a joke, dude. What a fucking joke.
Well, once we know that the Trump administration isn't getting to the bottom of it, no one is.
Oh, you don't trust Cash no more? He looks so reliable on here. Wow. He talks like a goddamn Zoomer. Just, nobody thinks it's weird that guy lives with a dude. His supposed honeypot girlfriend, they're suing. But she's suing everybody. They said she's a IDF honeypot or whatever the fuck.
Who's suing? Was she suing
his girlfriend?
People?
Yeah.
Who's she suing?
That should clear up those Jew rumors. Am I right?
Cash's girlfriend sued several podcasters for defamation, alleging they spread false claims that she's a Mossad agent or honeypot for Patel. And Kurt's right, the lawsuit sure did calm down those rumors. It's hilarious how Joe does his absolute best to avoid mentioning Brazil, but he can't help but burst out laughing when Kurt drops a nuke like that. I think everyone is just sick of the team Trump put together to play the face of a position instead of giving them any real power to do their job. Maybe it's a good thing they don't have any power. They wouldn't know what to do with it anyway. As the podcast gets about 2 hours deep, Kurt makes sure to let Joe know how stupid his belief in AI Jesus is. And right when Kurt blames Joe's weird-dicked AI tech friends for Joe's line of thinking, Joe cuts him off.
That's what Lucifer, I think, is, a plasma ball of inverted souls, which they're going to tell you is Jesus, and it's not, by the way. Anybody telling you that a man-made AI Jesus is a Jesus, I mean, that's a Luciferian. That's how you spot them, so you know.
Then I'm a Luciferian, because I've been telling people that.
Well, you hang out with tech people, and you probably beam it on your head.
No, it's just a silly idea. What I'm saying is, it makes sense that if that keeps going, it's almost like...
Temporarily blocked. Video belonging to some... Okay, cool. It's going to come back in a minute. It's going to come back. I think it's a Kurt Metzger video. Wow. Joe is blocking that video, bro. Yeah. This is interesting, innit? I think Joe fucking blocked it. I'm going to stop watching it now, though, because I think it got blocked. Yeah. Joe Rogan blocked it or something. Something's going on in the background. Something's going on in the background. Something's going on in the background. Because if I remember correctly, let me go on Apology of Comedian's channel. He did say it got taken down, didn't he? In his post. What did he say? Yeah, you see, look, see? Looks like my Kurt Metzger video was blocked globally. Appealed the decision, see what happened. So it was released. So recently the video did come back up again. So I think Rogan's been blocking that video for some reason. Rogan's been blocking that Kurt Metzger video, bro. Rogan's been blocking that Kurt Metzger video. So yeah, he doesn't want us to see it. He doesn't want us to see it. He doesn't want us to see it. So we're back. We should be back now. We should be back. We should be back. Okay, let's leave Joe because Joe doesn't want to. Actually, before we finish, let's just read the comments quickly. What people are saying about the video in the comments. The video that Joe didn't want us to see. Fuck, I hate Joe Rogan's fake laugh. This is probably Kurt's last time on the show. Joe can't get this. Joe can't get his daddy's upset. Joe, what more virgin than the computer? TPUSA was a scam. Joe doesn't pay attention to it because he doesn't want to be reminded of everything that he's helped cause. Exactly. I don't pay attention to it. Of course you don't. Joe Rogan tried to stay out of stuff, says it all. What a loser. Joe, relax, Theo. Let the evil wash over you, Rogan. Can't wait until the end of the Rogan sphere. Almost there. Really? You think they're almost there? I don't think so. I think they're going to go on for ages. I think they're going to go on for fucking ages. Maybe until the end of time. I don't think they're going anywhere anytime soon. Nicki Minaj during that interview might actually be the hardest thing to watch I've ever seen. A black light will show how many computers aren't necessarily virgins. Disgusting. What's more virgin than a computer? Joe obviously doesn't know what I use my computer for. Bit late to stay out of it, bud. Exactly. Rogan confronted about being killed. Kurt, Eddie Bravo with receipts. Metzger. Download it, everyone. It might be gone in a few hours. Yeah, it nearly got my fucking stream nuked, mate. It nearly got my stream nuked. So let's just leave it there. Big up Apology Comedian though. I rate that guy.